So after the winter seasons, it'd be April time, and I'd have spent 5 months in the mountains. It'd just be pure white and blue skies, fantastic. And the snow would start to be melting, and you start to see a bit of greenery come through. And my second love, or my other love, is the beach. So I'd want to go down, I want the sand between my toes, I want to see the ocean, and I want a bit of summer. So I'd head down to the south of France, and I'd go to Cannes for the film festival, and just hang out. I'd do a lot of painting when I was there, and just have a complete change from what I'd been experiencing for the last 5 months. And it was, again, completely different hazards. So I was going from a place where the environmental hazards were huge. You had to be careful of avalanche, you had to be careful of cold, you had to be careful when you were out at night, all of these things. Going into Cannes, it was a small town, a beautiful, beautiful town. But a lot of people would be turning up for the film festival. So thousands of people would come into Cannes just for this 1 week or this 10-day festival, which also meant a lot of opportunists. They would come into the festival and they would hang out, so the risk of pickpocketing, bag snatching, all of this was increased. And we're looking at the other side of travel, and the other side, so busy cities, busy towns, where you have to be aware of the people around you, and you have to be aware at the right times. Before you do any of this, and before you choose your adventure, it's really important to get a good foundation. So we put together a thing we call a travel pyramid. And the baseline of this is always research. Research before you go. It's a huge key. And it means your adventure can start sort of months before you actually leave, so you can start getting excited. You can start going to look on different websites, find out information, choose what destinations, what experiences you want to have when you're there. I've heard stories of people turning up in places going, oh, I'd love to go and see this, and then turning up and it's closed, it's out of season. And you can avoid that by doing your research, by making sure you've got a strong foundation. Looking at your visas, looking at your inoculations, all this stuff that could really help you. Some inoculations you need, they take 3 months to get into your system. So it's really important that you do as much planning as you can. So for us, the next tier is always preparation. It's about finding out what bag you're going to take, what you're going to pack with you, and it's an idea to pack and unpack a few times, because there's always, in any holiday you go on or any experience, you always come back with clothes you haven't worn, things you haven't needed. So it's really important to travel as light as possible. Also, test your shoes. You don't buy brand new shoes and go walking in them, because you're going to be doing a lot of miles, you're going to be walking every day, and if you've got brand new shoes, more than likely you'll have blisters after a week. And get used to walking around in your stuff and what you have with you, because then it'll be comfortable for you when you actually go, and you won't feel like you've forgotten everything. You've forgotten something all the time. You're thinking, oh, have I got this, have I got that? But if it's comfortable and feels familiar, it would be easier for you to make sure you have everything and bring your anxiety down, because then obviously you're reduced as you're not a target to anybody. So when you get to the peak of the pyramid, it's travel, and all you have to do is your risk assessments, and you have to keep in touch. And to keep in touch today is really simple. It's just sharing posts on social media, keeping in touch via WhatsApp, or anything that's any communication that you have with people back home or your friends that you're traveling with. The stronger you can build the foundation of that pyramid, then when you get to the top, it's kind of a security of knowledge. So the more knowledge you have, that more information you have, then the easier it is when you're actually traveling. So risk assessments are really important when you're traveling, and it's something that when we speak to students, or we speak to anyone who's planning an adventure, we try and drill it into them. Start doing them now, and then that way it'll become automatic. It'll go into your subconscious mind, and you won't have to consciously think about, must do a risk assessment, I must do a risk assessment. So stage one is always identify the hazard. So what is the hazard? Is it an environmental hazard? Is it a hazard to do with people? What is the hazard? Who is at risk? Is it myself? Is it the group of people I'm traveling with? Is it somebody else? Is it something I have to intervene in? Those two steps are really important, which leads you on to the third step, which is always evaluate that risk. How much risk am I in? Do I need to change my situation? So those three simple steps, what they do is then they increase your awareness, they increase your knowledge of the situation, and then you can take action.